Hello, friends. So, the book I chose for my biography children's book is The Crayon Man. Since I love the book so much and it was so colorful, I had to wear my colorful Coochie sweater. So, this book is about Edwin Binney, who was the inventor of Crayola crayons. During this time in 1903, children especially did not have colorful writing utensils. The writing utensils they had were smudgy, they were dark, they weren't fun. None of them had color. They were grays, they were blacks. So Edwin Binney felt compelled to create a colorful writing utensil, especially for kids. So this is the story of what inspired him to do so and how it all came together. Now, what is especially amazing about this book is it covers like all of the STEM criteria. So it has science because there's tons of chemistry in it. It talks about mixing different minerals and oxides to get colors. It also has math because it talks about different measurements, making sure you have the right measurements to mix. And it has engineering because it shows how the crayons were made, what machinery needed to be used. It, of course, covers STEM, but it also covers basically every subject. It has history because it really shows what it was like in that time era and what they didn't have access to that we have access to now. Of course, it has art all throughout it and reading. So it's really just a great resource if you want to get a book that spreads across every subject matter. I would really recommend this one. So we'll go ahead and go over some of the bibliographic information. The author is Natasha Bibo. The illustrator is Steve Salerno. The publisher is HWMH Books for Young Readers. And the copyright date is March 19, 2019. So it's a pretty new book. I'm excited to see what more resources come out and maybe more awards that this book might receive. And it's exciting to see how it'll grow. So we'll go ahead and jump into the book and start reading. I'm going to read the book off of YouTube just because that's how I have access to it, but I am just going to mute, so I will be the one reading. All right, so this is about in the middle of the book. Edwin thought about his company's inventions. When you draw a picture with their gray stale pencils, it rubbed off at the drop of a hat. When you drew a picture with their white chalk, it smudged everywhere. If you drew a picture with Edwin's new really black crayon, it was like, well, really black. None of these inventions were any good for drawing in color. So Edwin listened and Edwin invented. In small stone mill in Pennsylvania, in a top secret lab, Edwin's team experimented. How could they make better, stronger crayons? Melted paraffin wax? Perhaps. Now, down here in this little box, I wasn't able to read the text myself. She reads it in audio if you watch the YouTube video, but I'll just kind of give you a summary. Any of these boxes go into the chemistry of making crayons. So it talks about like how they're mixed and how what the chemistry is with that. So just so you know what those boxes are that I skip. Now, for the crayon colors, grinding up rocks and minerals into fine powders. They came home covered in color. They experimented some more and discovered a pitch of pigment, a sploosh of that one, a little hotter, a little cooler, and voila, lots of different shades. Now they were green, orange, violet, and pinks too. Edwin came home covered in color. In a large tub at the mill, Edwin's team measured out the ingredients: melted wax, clay to thicken, something for texture, colored powders, each in just the right amount every time to make a top secret formula. Slowly, carefully, stirring by hand, they poured the specific formula into thin crayon-shaped molds, smaller than any other inventor's, just the right size for children's hands. The mixture cooled and hardened. Edwin watched and Edwin waited. Finally, one summer evening in June 1903, Edwin came home covered in color and announced that he invented a new kind of colored crayon. But what should he call it? Alice had an idea. She said, let's mix the French word crayon for stick and chalk and the word olla for the word oleaginous, meaning only like the oily texture of the crayon's wax to invent a new word. Crayola, Edwin listened. Benny and Smith shipped out the first Crayola crayon box. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, brown, and black. 8 colored crayons for only a nickel. Edwin waited. Would children like them? Children did. Now they could draw a tiny green caterpillar or the big blue sky. Their drawings wouldn't smudge, and they wouldn't rub out. They were bright and could last a long time. So that's where I'll go ahead and stop reading. Now, the extension activity I found for this book was really great. The resource is Patricia Newman, patricianewman.com. So the way the extension activity works is before reading, you would take the children on a nature walk, and that is based off of the first page of the book where Edwin is inspired by nature and he thinks of all the colors in the world and is inspired by that color. So what you can do on this walk is you can have children look around them and see different colors, but not just simply see a blue sky, but the different shades in the blue sky, or a red bird, the different shades in the red bird, and just to observe all of the colors to really feel and see what inspired Edwin. Now, during reading, the activity you can do is students can listen and create a list of all the colors Edwin mixed to create the first 8 boxes of Crayola. So they can write all those colors down during reading. And then they can also list some of other colors that came later and note their names. So towards the end of the book, there was additional colors, and they can write that down as well. Now, this is the fun part. After reading, the students can take part in an experiment where they will mix up their own colors using crayons. So it's a really simple activity. They'll just wear aprons and anything like that, and they're just getting like water and different liquids like that and mixing up different colors with the crayons. And then after they create all these different colors, they can give the colors their own name, which would be really fun. So this is the book I chose. I loved it so much. I really hope all of you read it because it just was a joy to read, and it got me really excited to use it in my future classroom. All right, see you guys soon. Thank you.